Okay, today we're going to tackle a skill that is absolutely essential for anyone who works with ideas, citing and referencing. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Ugh, a bunch of tedious rules. But I want you to forget that. Seriously, think of it as a power-up, a tool that lets you stand on the shoulders of giants, prove your arguments are solid, and officially join a massive, ongoing intellectual conversation. So let's break down how it all works.
For a lot of us, the first thing that pops into our heads when we hear referencing is the fear of getting it wrong, the fear of plagiarism, right? It's a word that carries a ton of weight in school and at work, and honestly, for very good reason. So let's just face that fear head on.
So what is plagiarism really? Let's be crystal clear. This isn't just some innocent mistake. At its core, it's an act of fraud. It's literary theft. You're not just borrowing, you're taking someone else's hard work, their words, their ideas, and then lying about it, passing it off as your own. Understanding just how serious that is, well, that's the first step to making sure you never, ever do it.
But hey, this isn't all about avoiding punishment. The flip side of steering clear of plagiarism is actually building up your own credibility. You know, when you properly credit your sources, you're not just being an honest person, you're being a smart one.
So why is citing so critical? Well, it's a win-win-win. First, you validate your own research. You're basically showing everyone, hey, I've done my homework and my work is built on a solid foundation. Second, you're showing respect for the people's work you're using. That's just good karma. Third, for your readers, you're leaving a trail of breadcrumbs so they can trace your sources and explore for themselves. And of course, doing all of this is the absolute best way to avoid plagiarism. Everybody benefits.
So how do we actually do this? The great news is that almost every single referencing system boils down to a really simple two-step process. Once you get how these two parts work together, the whole thing becomes way less intimidating, I promise.
Okay, here are the two pieces of the puzzle. First, you've got the in-text citation. Think of this as a little signpost that you stick right into your writing at the exact spot where you use a source. It's short and sweet. And second, at the very end of your paper, you have the reference list. This is the detailed map that all your little signposts point to. It has all the info anyone would need to find that source. The signpost and the map, they're a team. You can't have one without the other.
Now, a quick heads up on something that trips people up all the time. You might hear the word bibliography. So what's the difference? It's subtle, but it's important. A reference list only includes the sources you actually put a signpost for, the ones who cited in your text. A bibliography, on the other hand, is bigger. It can include everything you read for your research, even the stuff you didn't end up quoting. So always check which one you're supposed to be creating.
All right, so we've got our two-step system. The next logical question is, what should it actually look like? This is where citation styles come in. The best way to think about them is like different languages or dialects. You've got APA, Chicago, MLA, Vancouver. They're all saying the same basic information. They just use slightly different grammar and punctuation to do it.
And most of those styles fall into three big families. First, you have author date styles, like Harvard and APA. You'll see these a lot in social sciences, because they really emphasize how recent the research is. Then you have footnote styles, like Chicago, which are big in the humanities, since they let you add little extra notes. And finally, there are numbered styles, like Vancouver, which are super popular in medicine and science because they're so concise and clean. Different methods, but they all get the same job done.
Okay, time for a lightning round. Let's decode some of that academic jargon you're going to see everywhere. These abbreviations can look a little intense, but trust me, they're just simple shortcuts. Let's blast through the most common ones. First up, et al. It's just Latin for and others. This thing is a total lifesaver when you're citing a paper written by like 15 different scientists. Instead of typing out every single name, you just write the first one and then et al. It keeps your writing so much cleaner. Next, ibid. This comes from the Latin word for in the same place. You'll see this a lot in footnote styles. If one footnote cites a source and the very next one just says ibid, it literally just means see the exact same source I mentioned 1 second ago. It's a simple way to avoid being repetitive. Oh, this one is a great pro-level tool. If you're quoting something and the original text has a typo or a weird grammatical mistake, you can add sic in brackets right after the error. It's your way of telling the reader, hey, I see this mistake, but I'm quoting it exactly as it was written. It shows you've got a great eye for detail. And finally, ND. Super simple. This just stands for a no date. You use it when you're citing something, maybe a web page, and you just can't find a publication date anywhere. It's the standard way of saying that piece of info wasn't available.
Easy, right?
Okay, we've covered the why, the how, and even the weird lingo. But with all these different styles and rules flying around, where on earth do you actually start? Well, there is one golden rule, one first step, that will save you more time and headaches than anything else.
Here it is. Before you type a single word of that essay or that article, find the Guidelines for Authors or Submission Guidelines page. This document is your treasure map. It will tell you everything, the word count, the formatting, and most importantly, the exact reference style you have to use. Checking this first will literally save you hours of painful reformatting later on. It's the best advice I can give you.
So you see, referencing isn't just about following rules to stay out of trouble, it's about respect. It's about showing how your ideas connect to everything that came before and offering them up to everyone who will come after. It's how you enter the conversation. So now you know the rules of engagement. The only question left is, what are you going to add to it?